These are your latest artworks, City in Dialogue. What could you tell us about them?
Well, I like this topic, because very often I place my scenes and motives in my paintings in the urban environment, and as someone who was raised and grow up in a city, and I always dwell in the city, so I understand very well the so to say the soul urban space. So I like to think about what it is, So what I do in this series, actually I take either references which are architectural, so as it is on the painting behind me. I always like to reference with an architecture that was created as a result of ideological kind of imprint, Actually, it can be anything, It can be a brutalist kind of architecture, socialist or fascist, or eventually neoclassicism and so on. And in the big cities, we are always surrounded by a variety of this kind of architecture. So what I always ask, I put a question on it, what happens when this kind of architecture remains and when it's void of its content, ideological content is gone. This era when this architecture was created is also gone, and now we have another context. We have this kind of a shell with a new content in a new environment, a new relationships, and what this thing is creating as a new kind of categories. So that is my questioning on the topic of the city, as you asked.
What about this man looking into the water?
Yeah. Actually, it's a mixture of things. So in the background, we have this architecture that is devoid of its content in this new kind of thing with this advertising billboard on the top that is also empty. So actually, it's pointing out to some kind of a transition kind of process in a societal way. So could be a crisis, could be something also very like a intermediate kind of process. And then we have this figure who is lying on the ground, facing the water, although he has no face, he's faceless, and in vain trying to find his own reflections, his own image in the water, like to find his own identity. So it's all about the self searching to identify himself in a turbulent times. That's the point of this painting.
Here you can see the Hotel Futura.
Yeah. Could be a hotel, could be also a company, not necessarily a hotel. But it's also like, I like the, let's say, strong contrast in between, I call them like the worlds, so you have divided things, divided entities. One is pointing toward the possible future. That's actually a joke about using also Futura font, typography of Futura, and placing it on some like also brutalist or modernist building in the background, pointing that it may be future, and what we are in right now is an actual state of things. I always work in the symbolical field, but I also work in the field of perception. So people maybe are not realizing this from the first hand view on what I'm proposing as an image, but if they are placed in a space that is somehow offered to them in a perspective way, like in this painting, they actually are making part of this category they are in a how would I say, in a perspective, exactly like this, in a projection,